with faith in God, with fidelity to country, and with the fighting spirit I got from my mother, I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States. We are at an inflection point in the history of our world. We are at an inflection point in the history of our nation. We are here because the American dream and our American democracy are under attack and on the line like never before. We are here at this moment in time because we must answer a fundamental question. Who are we? Who are we as Americans? So let's answer that question to the world and each other right here and right now. America, we are better than this.
Senator Kamala Harris officially kicked off her 2020 presidential campaign with a rally in Oakland, California. Harris's campaign stated that Oakland officials estimated 20,000 people attended yesterday's kickoff in the senator's home. Look at that crowd. She was home, and I think she was really strong, Joe. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, it's so interesting trying to figure out who's going to succeed, who's going to fail on the presidential stage. And, Andrea, it's sort of that it factor about either somebody has what it takes or they don't to fill the stage. I've seen 6'4" men try to fill that stage and look extraordinarily small. I've seen 5'4" women standing on a stage delivering a statement looking like giants. You either have it or you don't. There's no predicting until that moment that person walks up to the microphone and announces they're running for president. I don't know about you, but the second I saw her up there, I said, wow, she's got what it takes. She filled that stage, and she can play in the big leagues.
Absolutely. And she had, you know, a couple of uncertain steps along the way coming to this point, but there she was in Oakland, huge crowd, and a really good speech. She had and the people around her, and her core message was very, very strong about America is better than this. We are better than this. We are looking bad to the world. We're encouraging, you know, racism. I mean, she confronted all of those issues. She's clearly bright and, you know, has a new feeling about her. But this really came together. Now, does this play in Ohio, in Michigan? I think certainly in Michigan and Pennsylvania. I don't know whether it's all across the country or whether this is an East Coast, West Coast thing. But right now, Kamala Harris is in a great position in this field. I think the real other development over the weekend we can talk about is Howard Schultz.
Absolutely.
Put Democrats in a total panic.
Well, we have that. Former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz is weighing a potential 2020 presidential run as an independent. Schultz tells the New York Times that he plans to crisscross the U.S. on his book tour over the next 3 months before deciding whether to formally enter the race, but has already laid the groundwork for a campaign in all 50 states. Here's what he said about a 2020 run in a recently taped 60 Minutes interview that aired last night.
I am seriously thinking of running for president. I will run as a centrist independent outside of the two-party system. We're living at a most fragile time. Not only the fact that this president is not qualified to be the president, but the fact that both parties are consistently not doing what's necessary on behalf of the American people and are engaged every single day in revenge politics.
Some Democrats are uneasy about Schultz's interest in running as an independent. They're worried that he could poach voters that would otherwise vote Democrat and ultimately solidify another 4 years for President Trump. To his critics, the self-proclaimed lifelong Democrat says it would be disingenuous of him to run as a Democrat because he believes the party has shifted so far to the left. And I'm interested, Joe, in your thoughts about his comments about revenge politics on both sides.
Well, he's absolutely right. Now would be a perfect time to have the interview right after government shutdown. And there are obviously going to be a lot of Democrats who are going to be very concerned about how this breaks. Of course, you never know until you actually run the race and you have the election and you see who takes from whom. I know the Bush family still believes to this day that Ross Perot helped elect Bill Clinton. So it's hard to say. We can say this, though, David Ignatius, that there is no stronger brand in American politics right now than independent. You look at young voters; they are not registering. Majorities are not registering as Republicans and Democrats. They're independents. They're non-affiliated. This is the future. At some point, there will be an independent president sometime very soon. But I don't know if it's in 2020, and I don't know if I don't want to be the guy that had the re-election of Donald Trump pinned around, wrapped around my neck like the albatross I shot for the rest of my life.
Well, people will be angry at anybody who's seen as having helped Donald Trump get a second term with a minority of the country behind him by running a third-party candidacy. I'd put it a different way, Joe. I think, yes, younger voters are sick of the two-party, the alignment that we've got. But what I think they're looking for, certainly what I'd say I'd like to see more of, is the party that can create a big tent under which everybody can gather. And that's the standard by which I'm going to be evaluating Kamala Harris. She gave a great speech. She knows why she wants to be president.
Exactly.
She knows how to build that big tent where Democrats with lots of different viewpoints from all over the country can gather. People who may have voted for Trump but are sick of him can gather under that tent. That's how I'm going to measure Kamala Harris and pretty much everybody else. Howard Schultz, I liked a lot of the things he said in his speech, but as you say, it's tough to be in that place in the middle that takes votes away from both sides.
Seems like a difficult time to run as an independent, Joe, with the risks we have.
It is. And, Sam Stein, I think of a picture that I saw from the 1992 Clinton-Gore convention that had the Gores and the Clintons standing next to each other with their arms all held high in the air. And the caption underneath said, 3 of these 4 people won the popular vote for President of the United States. Only one got to sit in the Oval Office. The reason why? Ralph Nader. And Jill Stein. I mean, we can, the Electoral College, yes, that as well, but also people taking votes away from Al Gore and taking votes away from Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I mean, listen, empirically, we don't know who would lose more here if Howard Schultz were to run, whether it be the Democrat or Trump. We don't know where he's having from. We kind of do.
Yeah, we do.
We can take
no,
a
we do.
But either way, the idea that no one really wants to find out, basically, and even centrist-minded Democrats who I was talking to yesterday are not really into this Howard Schultz run. I talked to someone at Third Way, which is a deficit-minded centrist Democratic think tank, and they called it, quote, a catastrophic mistake if he were to run. So no one's really into this game. And just to button this up a little bit, I do agree that there's a pool of people who don't associate themselves with political parties anymore. They are independent-minded. They don't want to be Republican. They don't want to be a Democrat. But I just happen to think that they also don't flock to a multimillionaire CEO whose sole agenda is to tell them, we can't afford this. That's not the galvanizing message for that block of voters.
Yeah. Joe?
Well, we never know. But, Andrea, again, you never know what's going to happen a year from now. A year from now, Donald Trump may not be in office. and suddenly it's Mike Pence against, you know, Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren, and then suddenly it seems to fit a little bit better in the middle. And when Bill Clinton decided to jump in 1991, you were there. Everybody thought he was crazy. He was running against a guy that had 89% approval rating. So you never really know.
Absolutely. It's way too early. Just to button it down, though, Kamala Harris had a great rollout. She's going to absolutely be a big player here. Everyone wants to see what Joe Biden is going to do. He's got a lot of, you know, problems as well, but he has certainly the name recognition.
What are you hearing there, Andrea? That's the question of the month. What's Joe going to do?
He's told some people in a week or the week before that he's 75 to 80% wanting to do it. There are some family reasons that are holding him back. He wanted to see who else is rising to the surface, but I tend to think he's going to get into this.
Wow.
And that will be a game changer in another way. You've got Terry McAuliffe, who's, you know, eagerly waiting to run, waiting to see what Biden is going to do.
Wants to just burst out.
You know, you've got a lot of other people out there who really want to do it. It seems to be coming together very quickly, though, that you've got these three prominent women senators front and center now, and Kamala Harris, among the three, seems to be, you know,
looking strong.
Looking strong.
Andrea, and I really quickly, and I'm sorry, and Alex is going to be mad at me. I'm sorry, Alex. I just got to add one more name to this mix. I know you are. We're about 30 minutes over in this block alone. John Kerry. It's a name that I've heard. There's a possibility also of John Kerry jumping in. What's the latest you've heard on John Kerry surprising the field and getting in?
Well, I think he might well want to, but I just don't think that once you've been nominated, you get another chance to do that. Adlai Stevenson did. That didn't work out so well, but not since then. If somebody can run and then run again after not winning the nomination, but once you've won the nomination, I don't think he would have a chance with this party.
All right, final thought, which I will leave hanging with no comment, is that there is also word Hillary might jump back in. Howard Schultz will be our guest on Morning Joe this coming Wednesday. Still ahead this morning, new reporting about a possible peace deal between U.S. and Taliban forces. We'll talk to Jeremy Bash about what officials are saying about finding an end to America's longest war. Morning Joe will be right back.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.